Dov'è Alberto? 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 Cominciamo? Aspettiamo, sì. Okay, so thanks. Hope you enjoyed the break. We are going to start again with the second part of the agenda of today. The idea, so please take your seats. The idea is to have some additional keynote speech from some, I would say, best case or best examples that we can somehow provide to the attendees today, with reference to the initiatives that can be somehow implemented in the different nodes in terms of optimization of the data exchange, data management, and so on. So for this purpose, we're going to have two different keynote speech. Part of these informations were somehow already anticipated this morning. So the first will be from Germany, Mr. Hermann Grünfeld, from the Hamburg Port Authority, which is the head of traffic management. And so data is one of the real information which we are here is dealing with. And at the same time, following this, the presentation from Massimo Arnese with reference to the initiative so-called LOD that we are following together with the different railroad terminals at national level. So I would start, of course, from the Mr. Grünfeld from the Hamburg Port Authority. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I have some information from the port of Hamburg. Hamburg is the third greatest port in the North Range. The greatest is Rotterdam, Antwerpen, and then Hamburg. In Hamburg, we are the greatest port, and we are a gateway. We are the universal port in the area, and we are not really on the North Sea. We have 82 nautical miles from open sea, and this is a very, very interesting story. I think we celebration in the March the Great Harvard birthday, 37 years old port, and that is a successful story, clear, and this is the story in the hinterland of North Sea, or 82 nautical miles of Hamburg. In Hamburg, we are 30% city, and we have in the moment around about 8.3 million TEU in the year 25. And you can see, this is a great, great challenge when we see that it's the port in the middle of the city. Hamburg has a moment around about 2 million citizens, and we are 30% from the completely area. We are the port. We are the universal port. We have a lot of kinds, and we have handling all types of goods. We have liquid goods, recycled good waste. We have in the moment around about 71 square kilometer area for port handling, and we have a different company situation. On one hand, we are real estate, and we are I think we have the greatest real estate in Germany, and on the other hand, we are the public infrastructure provider. Also we have both rules, land rolled and roll. And now it is so that we have around about more than 500 container vessels each year. I think I have seen that we have 635 vessels last year in the handling. And we have the history in container handling. We have the example for the Burchard Kai. He started in Germany in the year 1967, and yes, and then they handle 12 to 18 containers each hour. In the moment, we handle in today 30, in best case 40 containers each hour. That had the situation, we have every time the same space in the port, and we have every time grow up the handling for the container. And this is a very, very interesting situation for the traffic infrastructure, because we have two types of or three, but normally two types of hinterland destination of Cardinal model. And this is a picture from the tracks for the ferries and for the barges. And the track for the Eisenbahn, this is very, very good for the successful story in Hamburg, because we have traffic to Dresden, to Prague, to Budapest, to Graz, maybe to Trieste, I'm not sure. And we handle each day around about 200 tracks in the port. The model split in the Hamburg Port Authority is around about 50-50, and this is the advance when we see what is the handling for railways in Antwerpen or in Rotterdam. Then this is this stable situation in Hamburg that we have 50% for traffic on the railway. My colleague, Pentrella, he said data is the new infrastructure. And we think, yeah, that's right. We work hard for the new infrastructure, and the name of the infrastructure is maybe data. And we have the very, very interesting comparison, because we have the new view for the infrastructure layer orchestrating. When we see what is possible, when we see we have a layer for operation, we have a traffic layer, we have a stakeholder layer, we have access layer, or a context layer, then it is possible to see the data in the vertical and the horizontal orchestra situation. And that is very interesting for the AI modeling. And we talk about for the new technical chance, when we have the clear situation between the layers, then it is possible to make AI port model for questions, for logistic questions, for data questions, for successful traffic flow. But we have two situations. One situation is the terminal situation, and the second situation is the infrastructure. And we have the goal that we have now, the situation that we have the slot management, the pre-book system in the port, and this is 1 hour typical. This is the time slot, the window when the truck was come and when the truck was go, and when we have no available slot, then there's no processing and no container handling, then he's wait. That is not so easy for communication between the trucks and the container terminals, and it's used maybe 1 or 2 years. Then this is a successful story, and they have the good communication between the trucks and between the handling for the container. And now is this a picture so that we have not so strong situation. In the green, in the middle of the picture, they have the booking slot, then it's easy when it's come and when it's go. Then it's not problem. And they are not so hard. When you make 2 or 5 minutes more or less, then it's no problem. No? And it is a system, and not all terminals have the system in the moment. We have about 5 or 6 terminals. They use the slot booking system, and it's a great chance for traffic management and for the traffic flow situation in the port, because we have the idea that is traffic, it's not every time faster, or we build more infrastructure, more lanes, more bridges, more streets. No, it is the idea that we have the good situation for measured traffic, and then it is a situation that we have similar the traffic flow and have the chance for the impact for the traffic management system for the controlling. And when we look on the side of the terminal, then this is a great chance. We have the capacity for the terminal, and we have a slot booking terminal system. And when they have a lot of capacity in the terminal situation, then this is a traffic flow very constantly. No? And then it have the chance we make a good traffic management. We make a system for the digital twin in the port, we look at what's possible for the congestion, which is the traffic light situation, have we a green flow in the port. And we thinking maybe for in the year 2019, what is possible for traffic management in the future. And we discussion with the company Fujitsu. And Fujitsu said, okay, we have the new computer terminal system, and this is a kind of quantum milling computer. It's not a real quantum computer. This is the base of quantum computer, and the name is a milling quantum computer. And we make a discussion group with TU Graz and the company of Fujitsu, and we testing the new chance for traffic light management in the traffic bubble. And this was the base of idea, and we thinking, okay, is it possible to optimize the traffic in the traffic bubble for the traffic station? And the quantum annealing services combined the data from the sensors. We have the different situations that we see, okay, this is not the situation in the directly contact to the traffic light. No, we said, okay, we know 6, 5, 4 traffic lights, and we measure all traffic what come inside the small grid, and then we believe what is possible to make a green wave for all direction, and that is the idea. No? And in the practical situation, we make a green 1 or 3 seconds more or less. More is not. No? And the idea is that we have not the traffic is faster. No, the traffic is more trust in the situation of start from one point and end to the next point. And this is the idea for the idea. And the project name is Mozart, and Mozart is a digital twin for the special area in the middle of the port, and we have 5 injections in this area, and we have a digital twin. And the digital twin is not so that we see, okay, the real-time traffic in this case. No, we said, okay, what is the predictive for the 1, 2, or 5 minutes, which is a chance to make a good traffic management in the next 4 or 5 traffic light green situation. And in the moment, we have around about 4,000 vehicles, around about 16,000 trucks each day. And in the moment, we can measure that we have 10 or maybe 15% more capacity in the area of the east of the Kölbrand Bridge. There's a test field. And now it is not a testing area, now it is a real traffic management in each day. And we're thinking what is possible when we make the project grow up, and we have not, in this case, 5 injunction, sondern we have in the city of Hamburg 1,700 traffic lights. We don't use all traffic lights, it's clear, no? And the idea is that we make the travel bubble, the problem situation for traffic situation in the city, and then we make a concept for digital twin. We measure how many traffic come inside the traffic bubble, and then we make a flexible green wave for the situation. And this is very helpful for the traffic flow, not every time faster, 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 or we build new infrastructure. No, the idea is that we build a travel model that is the strategy for traffic flow. Not so fast, but it's flow. It's not so many stop and go, it's flow. That is the idea that we're thinking about the project. And now is an interesting question for the sensoring. And yeah, data is a new gold, or data is a new infrastructure. And we say, okay, the sensor management, that is the interesting point for make a successful processing when you make a traffic management in the city or the last mile, or in this case for the situation between the infrastructure port and capacity from the terminal provider, and is helpful for the pollution is helpful for the trust logistic management chain. Yes, and we communication the information, not only in the port. We have a lot of information platforms. We have platforms inside of the port that we have great LED screens in the port. There is a real-time traffic management system. You can see how long the bridge was closed, or how long do you use from this point to the terminal. And we communication in the national platform. The name is Mobilität in Germany. And there's this for the situation for the trucks that they have not an app in the truck. They have the information from the app provider, whatever it is, no? And they have the information for the traffic flow now. We have information from the track that they say, okay, the traffic jam is not so long in the moment, and when is the traffic jam? When the capacity 100%, then this is the faster end of the traffic jam. And this is a good communication between traffic management and communication to the customer. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grünfeld. I need to say that it seems from what you presented that there is a very strong communication in terms of the different stakeholders to have this kind of results, because if you have real-time data and real-time adjustment of the traffic lights and so on, it is really a matter not only of technological solution, but also a very huge, let's say, effort from the different stakeholders in putting together data, as we were discussing, and also identify shared solution, because otherwise it's really difficult to get used to have this kind of collaboration between the parties. So really nice to see this kind of practical results in the port of Hamburg. You were mentioning Mozart, so from an ancient composer, we have to pass through a modern, I would say, singer, Italian singer, which is Elodie, which is not the singer. Please, I will invite Massimo Arnese to take the speech, because he's the ICT manager of the railroad terminal of Novara in the northwest part of Italy, but also is the responsible or the reference person from the Italian National Freight Village Trade Association, which is WIR, and is following since, I would say, at least a couple of years, this initiative, which is we called LOD, but of course not for the singer, but because of the main results that we want to achieve, according to what also Mr. Pentrella was saying a couple of minutes before. Please, Massimo, the floor is yours.
Sì, buongiorno a tutti. In effetti un nesso ce l'ha con la cantante, ma solo legato all'ispirazione che ci ha poi convinti a dare questo nome. In realtà è un acronimo, European Logistic Organized Data Interchange Environment, ed è un progetto che è partito nel 2022. È un progetto che è partito nel 2022 su due concetti fondamentali che sono parte del lavoro di chiunque opera nel settore del digitale, soprattutto se parliamo di logistica. Questo è l'acronimo di cui vi ho parlato, e i due concetti sono: uno, l'interoperabilità, questa parola che ormai è quasi, direi, inflazionata, che sentiamo ovunque, a cui si danno 1000 significati, ma non si riesce a capire che differenza c'è tra l'interoperabilità e un semplice scambio dati. Il concetto che noi abbiamo dato a questo nome è quello di non solo inviare dati da un sistema ad un altro, quindi rendere il sistema dialogante con un altro sistema, ma anche far sì che questi dati in qualche modo scatenino dall'altra parte un qualche processo operativo, quindi riescano in qualche modo a dare delle istruzioni che poi scatenino quei processi che generano poi efficienza all'interno di un piazzale, di un nodo logistico in generale, per chiunque operi appunto nello scambio delle merci. Quindi il data sharing, questo è un significato di scambio dati che abbiamo preso dalla Treccani, ma il data sharing acquisisce più valore perché lo scambio dati diventa appunto interoperabile, cioè genera dell'operatività. Abbiamo scelto di lavorare quindi su chiaramente una rete strategica. Noi siamo interporti, gli interporti come sapete sono nati come prima concezione nel 73, sono poi stati normati nel 1990 dalla prima legge, la 240, e fanno parte, diciamo, di una rete coordinata da un'associazione che è UIR, l'Unione Interporti Riuniti, e compongono sostanzialmente una buona parte del sistema logistico del nostro paese. Quindi copriamo tutta la dorsale italiana. Chiaramente a nord siamo un po' più sviluppati, c'è un numero maggiore di interporti, poi però siamo presenti anche in centro-sud. L'Italia è attraversata da 5 dei principali corridoi TNT, quindi gli interporti anche dal punto di vista strategico e di posizionamento geografico sono vicino a questi corridoi. Questa è la nostra carta d'identità, è quello che ci identifica fondamentalmente. Non siamo terminal, so che questa affermazione può stridere un attimino, però gli interporti in Europa di fatto non esistono, o comunque esiste un altro concept, non è quello che abbiamo noi qui in Italia, dove li abbiamo ben identificati, non solo con la 240, ma anche con la riforma recente che ha dato più forza a questo concetto, l'ha reso anche più efficace, più efficiente, o quantomeno lo renderà più efficace, perché ci sarà poi anche una commissione che opererà dei controlli, farà una ricognizione per vedere che effettivamente vengano rispettati ancora questi requisiti, e ci differenziamo appunto dai terminali ferroviari, perché oltre alla parte ferroviaria, che comunque già dal 1990 è imprescindibile, è essenziale per essere catalogati come interporti, abbiamo anche una serie di servizi alla persona e anche ai mezzi che, diciamo, ci rendono tali. Tra questi servizi c'è anche un blocco, diciamo, immobiliare che è determinante, è molto importante, quindi noi siamo sostanzialmente quelli che costruiscono poi le infrastrutture che i vari gestori poi utilizzano per operare sul trasporto intermodale. Chiaramente la nostra missione numero 1 è quella di trasferire traffici dalla strada alla ferrovia. Oggi si parla di sostenibilità, mi viene da dire che noi siamo sostenibili da quando siamo nati, perché è la missione numero 1 che il governo italiano, ma anche a livello europeo, ci viene chiesto di operare. Siamo 29, è una rete che cresce sempre di più, anche con la nuova legge. Mi dicono dal Ministero, lo stesso Pentrella, ma anche i suoi colleghi, che abbiamo già nuove domande per come dire, aggiungere queste strutture al bacino, diciamo, di logistico del nostro paese, e ci sarà appunto questa commissione che valuterà anche queste richieste, perché si è già verificato che molti avevano 2 binari e un magazzino e avessero chiesto di entrare a far parte della rete interportuale. Quindi bisogna anche stare molto attenti poi a mantenere l'efficienza e la qualità, perché se diventa un liberi tutti, allora il concetto stesso di interporto come terminal allargato che fornisce servizi verrebbe comunque svilito e sarebbe meno efficace. Come vi dicevo prima, la rete che ci contraddistingue più o meno sovrapponibile alla rete ferroviaria italiana, quindi riusciamo comunque a coprire la maggior parte delle tratte ferroviarie del territorio. Abbiamo, diciamo, una presenza più importante nel nord-est e nel nord-ovest, però comunque, come vedete, anche a sud c'è uno sviluppo. Gran parte di queste domande che stanno arrivando al Ministero arrivano dal meridione. Questo è una cosa anche positiva, perché andare a sviluppare dove già c'è tanto è abbastanza inutile, è meglio implementare dove invece mancano dei nodi che possano offrire appunto anche questi servizi. Questo è quello che avviene all'interno di un interporto. Questo che vedete nella foto è l'interporto di Novara Non mi sono neanche presentato, Massimo Arnese, IT Manager nell'Interporto di Novara, e poi ho la delega al digitale per l'associazione che li riunisce tutti. Questi sono i servizi che offriamo, come vedete sono tantissimi e usiamo tantissimi sistemi informatici per gestire tutta la parte della logistica intermodale e anche tutta la parte della logistica punto, cioè di magazzini. L'Interporto di Novara, questo per darvi un'idea anche del dimensionamento di queste realtà, è uno dei più piccoli come superficie. Ci attestiamo, diciamo, al 4° posto come volumi di traffico intermodale sviluppato, ma come superficie siamo i più piccoli. Qui in sala sono presenti i colleghi dell'Interporto di Verona, Consorzio ZAI, che è invece il più grande interporto a livello europeo, una realtà molto più grande. Quindi vi do questa informazione, poi vi spiegherò anche perché è importante rispetto poi al progetto che abbiamo sviluppato. E veniamo a Elodie. Elodie è il progetto che abbiamo deciso nel 2023 di far partire. È nato più che altro dall'esigenza di impiegare questi fondi PNRR che erano a disposizione per la logistica, quindi ci è stato chiesto anche dal Ministero di cercare di capire se poteva essere utile direzionare parte di questi contributi verso la rete interportuale. Allora noi abbiamo deciso di impiegare queste risorse non creando l'ennesima piattaforma digitale. Oggi molti progetti, molti fondi sono finiti nel creare altre piattaforme digitali, no? Quindi abbiamo studiato invece un progetto che non fosse un sistema informatico, ma fosse una federazione basata su quello che avevamo come dotazione informatica digitale all'interno della nostra rete dei 29 interporti e che avesse un qualcosa in più a livello di efficienza. Quindi abbiamo cercato di capire come rendere efficiente, in poche parole, non un singolo nodo, non una singola piattaforma, ma un'intera rete. Abbiamo per la prima volta deciso di sederci attorno a un tavolo e guardarci negli occhi. Gli interporti storicamente hanno lavorato come singoli soggetti, alcuni pubblici, alcuni privati, e quindi ognuno sostanzialmente ha sviluppato al suo interno. Elodie cambia questa filosofia, cambia il paradigma, cioè cominciamo a lavorare assieme mettendo a fattor comune competenze e perché no, anche casi di successo. Quindi nasce Elodie, decidiamo di lavorare sulla digitalizzazione delle procedure di logistica, quindi individuiamo dei blocchi su cui andare a sviluppare questa federazione digitale. I blocchi sono stati individuati nel TOS, nella Gate Automation. Abbiamo deciso sì di connetterci con il nuovo protocollo europeo, l'FTI del regolamento 1056, perché comunque volenti o nolenti è lì che va l'Europa per quanto riguarda lo scambio di documentazione elettronica e quindi lo scambio digitale dei flussi, e quindi in ottica europea abbiamo deciso di incontrare anche questo nuovo tipo di tecnologia. Quindi abbiamo lavorato allo sviluppo anche di un connettore, abbiamo lavorato sulla connettività, quindi sulla fibra ottica, su quelle che erano le infrastrutture per poter comunicare poi attraverso i primi 2 strumenti su cui abbiamo lavorato, e l'ANIS 2 che anche lì, volenti o nolenti, entra all'interno delle nostre realtà, perché ci si chiede anche comunque di uniformarci a questa tipologia di regolamento. Quindi abbiamo lavorato sul TOS, perché? Perché per riuscire a creare questo nuovo concetto di federazione all'interno di un'associazione, quindi questa federazione digitale, la prima cosa che abbiamo fatto è stato un assessment, cioè abbiamo nodo per nodo analizzato e valutato, è stato presentato a Livorno nel 2022, tutte quelle che erano le dotazioni digitali, non solo le dotazioni digitali in termini di hardware e software, ma anche di competenze, cioè siamo andati a vedere chi al suo interno aveva una struttura IT che era in grado di gestire poi queste nuove tecnologie. Quindi non abbiamo pensato solo a crearle o a efficientarle, ma anche a che cosa sarebbe successo dopo per mantenerle appunto in stato di efficienza. Quindi questo assessment ci ha dato dei risultati che ci hanno purtroppo messi davanti alla realtà dei fatti, e cioè che c'erano interporti molto evoluti da un punto di vista informatico. L'interporto di Padova è uno degli interporti più evoluti dal punto di vista del digitale. Arriviamo a concetti come tende laser sui treni che entrano o droni che si alzano in volo per fare la verifica dei piazzali, quindi altri invece che operavano l'introduzione e l'estrazione dei treni sul foglio Excel. Quindi abbiamo trovato una situazione veramente eterogenea, quasi da mani nei capelli. Quindi la prima cosa che abbiamo deciso di fare è stato lavorare creando un gruppo di lavoro tecnico, prendendo le competenze da ogni singolo nodo e mettendole attorno al tavolo, lavorare sul riallineare come dire, la dotazione tecnologica di tutti i nodi, e per tutti i nodi intendo dal primo all'ultimo. Quindi abbiamo creato questo gruppo di lavoro che seguisse passo passo tutti i nodi. Abbiamo cominciato a sviluppare questi TOS, quindi dotare ogni terminale di un sistema che potesse gestire il traffico intermodale. La gate automation ci siamo affidati a chiaramente attori esterni che però fornissero questi servizi di automazione dei flussi in ingresso e in uscita. Abbiamo creato portali OCR, ma non solo, abbiamo creato questi checkpoint che fossero in grado, una volta che il mezzo è entrato in area interportuale, di capire dove andava, chi serviva, quali erano i clienti. Quindi abbiamo sviluppato tutta una serie di tecnologie che potessero appunto automatizzare tutti i flussi di ingresso e di uscita dei mezzi. Abbiamo sviluppato un connettore IFTI che potesse metterci in grado di comunicare con l'FTI Gate nazionale, quindi col cloud del Ministero. Oltre a questo ci siamo anche collegati con la PLN. Attenzione al collegati con la PLN. I miracoli non li abbiamo fatti. La piattaforma logistica nazionale oggi è su un cloud, riceve dati dagli interporti, riceve dati statistici al momento, non operativi e non autorizzativi. Però eravamo a 0, abbiamo fatto 1, un po' abbiamo vinto, no? Oggi tutta la rete degli interporti è in grado di comunicare con la PLN. Abbiamo lavorato sulla connettività, ci siamo affidati agli operatori che come dire, hanno competenza in tal senso, quindi in primis anche Team Telecom Italia, quindi laddove l'interporto era magari in zone un po' più difficili da gestire a livello di connettività, abbiamo dato supporto e abbiamo portato una connettività adeguata. E sulla cyber security stiamo ancora lavorando. Gli interporti hanno aperto un tavolo di lavoro sempre attraverso questo gruppo con ACN, con l'OCS del Ministero, e siamo riusciti anche a perimetrarci all'interno della normativa. Eravamo partiti che eravamo tutti quasi essenziali, poi analizzando nodo per nodo, oggi abbiamo 8 nodi che sono classificati come soggetti importanti e gli altri sono fuori ambito, ma comunque sotto la lente di ingrandimento del Ministero dei Trasporti. Sugli FTI abbiamo creato questo meraviglioso connettore. Questo è uno strumento che oggi funziona. Vi do intanto anche un po' una panoramica di quello che è stato fatto. Chiaramente dal dataset abbiamo fatto estrapolare i servizi che a noi interessano, che sono il get in e il get out sul lato strada, il get in e il get out lato ferrovie e le CMR. Abbiamo cercato di lavorare solo su quelli, cioè anche qui la filosofia è stato: non facciamo tutto o non pretendiamo di fare tutto per poi non fare niente, cominciamo da quello che è l'essenziale, però mettiamolo in produzione. Abbiamo studiato questo sistema dove ogni interporto decide quale servizio attivare, questo viene inviato a un concentratore e a un connettore IFTI che ogni TOS ha in pancia, quindi è dal nostro lato sostanzialmente. Per chi mastica tecnologia è una macchina virtuale Linux all'interno della quale sono attivati determinati servizi. Dopodiché ogni connettore, ogni macchina trasferisce i dati tramite API all'FTI Gate nazionale, che li aggrega e li utilizza. In un prossimo futuro li mette a disposizione di tutti i paesi europei, perché ogni paese europeo, ogni paese comunitario ha un suo IFTI Gate, quindi il nostro è sul cloud del Ministero dei Trasporti. Chiaramente questo non vuol dire aprire i dati a tutti. E allora cosa abbiamo fatto? Abbiamo creato un sistema con 3 moduli. Il primo in alto, l'IDM, è un modulo che ci serve per identificare chi fa le richieste, quindi chi ci sta chiedendo un dato in formato elettronico deve identificarsi. Questo viene fatto con un certificato e una chiave pubblica. Quindi è un token che poi viene rilasciato, identifica il soggetto che fa richiesta e è sempre l'owner del dato che poi decide se passarlo. Quindi essere EFTI compliance non vuol dire apro il mio sistema, apro i miei dati a tutto il mondo. Vuol dire avere un sistema standardizzato europeo attraverso il quale io posso decidere di comunicare con quelli che sono i dati generati dal mio sistema gestionale interno. Un blocco centrale che io definisco catalogo. Questo blocco centrale serve a raccogliere le informazioni che poi io metterò a disposizione, e poi il blocco finale in fondo che è il data sharing, che è la tecnologia dedicata che serve al passaggio fisico dei dati digitalizzati. Dove ci siamo ispirati? Ci siamo ispirati qui, 2 progetti europei molto importanti che molti di voi conoscono. Phoenix è il primo e Federated è il secondo. Da Phoenix abbiamo cercato di prendere quello che è stato comunque la prima vera, diciamo, conquista rispetto all'interoperabilità a livello europeo, cioè questi connettori. Phoenix ha tanti connettori che sono stati sviluppati che mettono in comunicazione i vari stakeholders della logistica a livello europeo. Su Federated abbiamo cercato di lavorare un po' sul concetto di semantica, che in questo secondo progetto era stato sviluppato e studiato, diciamo, in maniera più importante rispetto a Phoenix. Tutto questo ha creato, diciamo, una serie di obiettivi che ci siamo posti, una serie che poi si sono trasformati in vantaggi, che sono quelli che abbiamo sempre ricercato all'interno dei nodi, quindi l'efficientamento delle procedure, la sostenibilità ambientale, che come vi dicevo noi avevamo già nel DNA, ma che in questo modo abbiamo aumentato perché efficientiamo sia le aree fronte gate che le aree di piazzale. Quindi comunque decongestioniamo in generale il terminale, perché tutte quelle operazioni di verifica che venivano fatte prima ai gate, quindi dove c'è quello che io in gergo militare chiamo la garitta d'ingresso prima di entrare nel piazzale, quando il mezzo arriva a questa garitta è già stato identificato. C'è un portale OCR che ha già letto tutti i codici, ha passato le informazioni al TOS, il TOS ha verificato i booking, ha verificato le autorizzazioni. Nel tragitto che il mezzo fa, che abbiamo cronometrato in 18 secondi tra il gate e la garitta di piazzale, il sistema informatico sa già tutto, quindi non gli rimane che fare 2 cose: emettere un visit ID con un QR code e alzare la sbarra e far entrare il mezzo. Questo vuol dire che non abbiamo più mezzi in coda, non abbiamo più mezzi fronte gate che sono lì ad aspettare chissà quale autorizzazione. Quelli che rimangono fermi fuori sono solo quelli che non sono prenotati, quindi quelli che non dispongono di un booking. Questo ci permette di gestire anche, come dico io, il caos. Prima il collega parlava di una finestra temporale prenotata, il camion deve arrivare a quell'ora in quel momento esatto. Ecco, noi gestiamo anche quell'altra cosa, cioè chi arriva entra, ma lo gestiamo in modo ordinato identificando il mezzo che arriva al termine. I vantaggi sono questi: prima di tutto, essendo collegati attraverso gli FTI, siamo all'interno del nuovo mercato digitale. Oggi l'FTI, come sapete, è valido per le pubbliche amministrazioni, ma da qui al 2029 tanti operatori economici saranno portati ad adeguarsi a questo tipo di comunicazioni. Sicuramente il livellamento di cui vi parlavo prima, no? Del parco tecnologico di tutti i nodi della rete di interporti WIR, ci rende più competitivi, più efficaci, e soprattutto attraverso gli FTI ci renderà anche più facile il lavoro di interfacciamento con la pubblica amministrazione. Il sogno: aumentare la produzione, ottimizzare le risorse, diventare compatibili con tutte quelle che sono le direttive, le disposizioni e le tecnologie sviluppate in Europa, e rafforzare, come stiamo facendo, anche un'identità, cioè far capire che la rete interporti italiani è una rete che ha valenza, ha peso a livello logistico, a livello nazionale, ma anche europeo, dove, ripeto, non siamo ancora riconosciuti al 100%. Chi ha aderito a questo progetto? 14 interporti si sono federati al progetto ELOD, Abbiamo anche incrementato i livelli di cyber security sicuramente, e con la gate automation oggi possiamo dire che riusciamo ad accogliere, diciamo, le richieste di tutti quei grandi operatori che hanno dei sistemi strutturati, sistemi informatici strutturati, e che ci chiedono maggiore automazione e maggior dialogo con i nostri sistemi, con i nostri TOS. Prima di chiudere, non so neanche se sono stato nei tempi, spero di sì, perfetto, mi dicono perfetto. Prima di chiudere, dove siamo oggi? Oggi tutti gli interporti sono dotati di un TOS in produzione. 30 settembre abbiamo chiuso i lavori, li abbiamo collaudati e li abbiamo rendicontati. E questa è già una grande conquista, perché abbiamo fatto sparire i fogli Excel, però è una conquista che riguarda noi. Step numero 2, abbiamo sviluppato tutti i connettori. Noi oggi abbiamo in produzione, quindi connettori che ricevono dati reali, la possibilità di mettere a disposizione il dato elettronico a tutte quelle entità che lavorano sul protocollo IFTI. Quindi oggi ci siamo attaccati il simbolino dell'Europa anche sulla giacca. Comunichiamo con la PLN, abbiamo chiuso adesso anche il giro sulla PLN, quindi siamo connessi con la piattaforma logistica nazionale. Così come i PCS, finalmente gli interporti e i porti hanno la stessa come dire, valenza rispetto alla comunicazione con la piattaforma logistica nazionale. Le operazioni di Gate Automation attività B saranno concluse entro il 30 aprile, quindi tutti coloro che hanno deciso di investire sull'automazione dei gate entro il 30 aprile chiuderanno i progetti, li collauderanno, li rendiconteranno, e poi la cyber security e la connettività entro il 15 di maggio, diciamo, verranno chiusi anche loro. Sulla cyber security chiaramente chi è fuori ambito avrà semplicemente alzato l'asticella della sicurezza dei suoi sistemi informatici, chi è in ambito si sarà messo a posto con tutti quei requisiti che il soggetto importante deve mettere in campo per rispettare il regolamento. Quindi diciamo che stiamo correndo tantissimo, il tempo è poco, io credo che abbiamo fatto in poco il lavoro che forse richiedeva 3 volte il tempo, non so neanche io come abbiamo fatto, abbiamo avuto il supporto e l'assistenza di Andrea Ballarin, Matteo Rena per tutta la parte amministrativa, il gruppo di lavoro ha lavorato bene, sta lavorando bene, credo che riusciremo a livello di rete a portare a termine quello che nel 2022 col nome di questa cantante abbiamo pianificato e abbiamo deciso di fare. Grazie a tutti.
Thank you very much, Massimo. I would just give a couple of points. In the meantime, I would like to invite, because we have we are opening the, let's say, the third part of the agenda of this morning. So I will invite, please, Mr. Andrea Condotta here at the desk. So Andrea Condotta, Director of Public Affairs, Sustainability and Innovation at Gruber Logistics. Zoltan Fabian, which was here. Zoltan Fabian from the Managing Director of the Container Center in Matmar Container Center in Budapest. Roberto Richer for the Port Authority of Koper. Paolo Menegazzo from the Port Authority of Venice, sorry, the name is too long, I'm not used to use it so long, and Nicola Busato from the Concessione Autostrade Venete, motorway concessionaire in Veneto region. Just a couple of issues regarding the Massimo. First joke, I don't know why you hate so much Excel files. I love them so much, so I know that are not so useful in some fields, but well, we are using it so much, so be kind with Excel. And the second issue is that several of the I need just to underline that we had really a huge work done during the last couple of years, and I think that one of the main results that we also can have is that this data will also be useful to communicate some of the, let's say, the activities that basically interporti, railroad terminals in general terms, are doing, because often when you talk to the citizens, I would say, so the so-called taxpayers that we are used to call it at the European level. They don't know exactly what is happening over there, and they know what is happening exactly what is the added value of this kind of areas, which are often connected and related to the industrial areas and so on. But it is really important to have this data to be used in order to communicate which are the results and which are the efforts that have been are resulting in their activities. So the idea was to have this really brief roundtables. We have more or less 45 minutes, so we are going to have a couple of questions each of the participants today. And the idea was to have a first set of, let's say, questions to all of you in order to allow you to present briefly some of the outcomes of the main projects that we are presenting here. We are celebrating here today with the project. So I would start with Andrea, which has already prepared his timer, so very keen for this. Thank you very much. So Andrea Condotta, Gruber Logistics. You were in the ACCESSMILE project. You had the opportunity to test the so-called MyDesk digital platform to somehow automate the documents, order, and so on, to improve information exchange in multimodal transport chains, in particular with reference to rural and peripheral context. The question to you is if you can briefly present the main results of these activities and the achievements in order to, let's say, underline the main issues that you would like to highlight as priority of the activity.
Thanks, Andrea. So first of all, we are a logistics company, so a private players, and the focus for us in this project was actually Poland. So from the operational perspective, our colleagues in Poland were the main involved in the project development. And just to explain briefly how freight forwarder, an operator, a transport operator, can implement and get, let's say, capacity of transport. When we operate in the market, we have different solutions, different hypotheses that we can put in place. And the first one is the easiest. You have kind of a stable flows, kind of stable business, and so you directly invest in new vehicles, new trucks, and so on. Very easy. In that case, you have a very easy integration in terms of data, information, and so on, because everything is flowing from your own vehicle to your system. While on practical terms, at least in Europe, most of the cases, the capacity of transport of the big freight forwarders is determined by the integration of the capacity of small carriers. So let's say small players that work for us, but work also for other players, and those players together are actually determining our capacity of transport. And that's particularly difficult when you have to deal with some specific areas in which you don't have a consistent number of flows getting in those areas. So what does it mean in practical terms? In practical terms, it means that probably you work with those kind of operators not in a consistent manner, but in any case, your customers are respecting the same level of quality that you do with a normal shipment. So in this case, the digital integration is the unique way in which you can guarantee that level of quality in terms of service. And when we speak about the quality of services, is not just bringing a good from A to B and that's it, but the expectation from the customer's point of view is that you are able to provide all kind of information. The track and trace, the documents immediately when you have finished the transport have to be available for your customer. And as said, super easy if you're managing with your own fleet, very difficult if you're managing it through carriers. So I would say that we are speaking about digitalization, integration, and so on, but we do not forget that we are always speaking about cooperation among people. So actually, one of the key points for us in the framework of ACCESSMILE was to directly meet small carriers, explaining what we wanted to do, explaining what the digitalization process meant for us and could benefit also their work. Why their work as well? Because let's say through the platform, it's just not just a matter from our side to monitor what they are doing or what they were doing, but it still gives, because it's in our rollout phase, it gives to us also the possibility to send to them directly the order of the shipment. So for them, it's an easy way to get in their mobile phone the order of a shipment. So a quick business also from their side. So we managed, let's say, 3 different workshops together with them. And so there was not just a matter of involvement in convincing them using a platform, but it's also a matter of adapting the usability of the platform on their needs. I have already anticipated that the results was extremely positive from our side. The platform is perfectly functioning and right now is in a rollout phase. So it helps us considerably in order to get this kind of extra capacity and to serve areas which are not, as said, super common in terms of management of transport.
Thanks, Andrea. I need to say that the fact that you highlighted the importance of the dialogue between the people that are involved in the logistics chain is basically fundamental, and it is something that we were discussing also with the colleagues before. So one of the issue will be, in my opinion, on the basis the possibility to dialogue within the stakeholders in order to identify solutions that are good or win-win solution for different kind of actors along the chain. Thank you. I will pass the floor to Zoltan Fabian from the MART Container Center in Budapest. You were also, Zoltan, also part of the ACCESSMILE project, and you also somehow work on the digital coordination mechanism in order to synchronize the truck arrivals at the both rail and river operation, as far as you are an internal port, I would say. So basically similar to what we were discussing also before in Hamburg. The question to you is if you have some key indicators that, of course, to present of what you've done, but especially if you have some key indicators that you would like to put on the table as a main results that it is possible to be highlighted.
Thank you, Andrea. First of all, I would like to welcome all the guests and many thanks for the invitation for this roundtable meetings. If you don't mind, Andrea, I would like to...
Yeah. No, if closer, yeah, closer.
If you don't mind, Andrea, I would like to a little bit show you the big picture. Our company is a trimodal container terminal situated in Budapest, especially in Budapest port. We are a part of Budapest port. And regarding the Hungarian intermodal throughput, last year the Hungarian intermodal throughput was 842,000 TEUs, and 91% of the total throughput is concentrated on the terminals in Budapest. So it's very clearly sees that the terminals in the countryside, or let's say in the rural and peripheral areas, are handling less volumes, and usually they have non-direct connection with the ports via terminals situated in Budapest. So it means also that the rural and peripheral areas supplied by trucks usually from the terminals in Budapest. So it's very important to speed up the processes, the truck processes, to be able for the trucks to arrive within 1 day to the farthest unloading or loading place in Hungary, using the limit of the driving time of the truck drivers. So in this case, we identified 3 actions in the ACCESSMILE project. We could speed up the terminal inspection processes at the terminal gate. It means a full digitalization of the terminal inspections. Till the ACCESSMILE project, till the pilot project, the terminal inspection was made by using lots of paper handworks, and the average inspection time at the gate was 5 minutes. With the digitalization tools we developed in ACCESSMILE project, we could reduce the inspection time in average 3 minutes. Nowadays we are using a mobile application platform supported with the OCR system and connected with API to our TOS, terminal operating system. So it means the faster terminal inspection operation. It means significantly less paperwork, and we saved 100,000 A4 paper sheet annually, which is also a big step for let's say a greener terminal operation. And in addition to that, we can provide really online and on-time data about the container defects to the container owners, because till this time, till the ACCESSMILE pilot project, we could inform our client about the gate-in, gate-out movements of the container. Now we can add pictures and real reports about the condition of the arrival containers to the container owner. So it's also an advantage. The second pilot project was call-in system to the terminal. Till the ACCESSMILE project, all the trucks arrived to the terminal, had to wait in Budapest port in one row on the road, and we called with security guards to the gate inspection. Now we could rent a separate territory from Budapest port, a parking place. It's a 12,000 square meter parking place, and we could install preliminary check-in point to the terminal and the parking place, and connected with the fiber optic cables to the terminal and terminal operating system, we could call in from the parking place to the terminal gates all the trucks arriving to the terminal. It means a reduced idling time of the trucks, because by this way we can optimize the terminal manipulation works, and the call-in system is triggered by the manipulation done on the terminal. So, for example, if a truck done with the terminal loading container manipulation, then the system will call the next truck from the parking lot, which is arrived for loading container manipulation. So this way we can optimize the terminal manipulation inside the terminal, and we could reduce the idling time of trucks by half. So in peak periods, the trucks could wait before the terminal 3 hours. Now it's reduced less than 1.5 hours. And the last step, which is also very important, it's a digitalization tool also. We could improve its vehicle booking slot that allows the driver that if they can plan their route, their daily routine, they can even book an hourly time slot for the terminal. It is not a mandatory, but it makes them a significant advantage, because in this case the idling time even reduced to 10 or 15 minutes. Because if they are booking an hourly slot, and if they arrive on a slot, we are going to prioritize them with call-in to the terminal inspection gate. This is the way we would like to motivate the drivers to plan their daily routine and to book a slot. Let's say it's a kind of fast lane at the security inspections at the airport, but it's free of charge, and this is the motivation aspect for the drivers to plan their way. And this case, altogether, almost the farthest unloading place in the rural and peripheral areas in Hungary can be reached within the driving time of the drivers. And it is multiplied by the effect that if the trucks are delivering in the surrounding places within Budapest, they can do 2 or 3 rounds within the driving time within 1 day.
Thank you very much, Zoltan. I need to say that when I started working with the railroad terminal, one of the main topic was the modernization of the infrastructure. I mean, from the point of view of the rail infrastructure, so the high capacity, high speed, and so on. And so this kind of initiative were allowing to gain 5-10 minutes in total in the trip of the train. But basically, then when you come to the intermodal terminal, you had some waiting times that were supposed to be filled in with these inspections that were manual ones, very long ones, and so basically, if you gain 5 minutes with the huge investment, then you lost 30 minutes just to check. So it is really one of the issues that can be furthermore improved thanks to the digitalization of these areas, for sure. I will pass the floor to Roberto Ritter from the Luca Copper. You also developed some kind of track appointing system, and in this case, the additional, let's say, step, I would say, is that you coordinated it, you put into practice and coordinated it with the automated gate solution in order to manage the high volumes of truck or road traffic that are basically facing your port. Can you tell us about something about this and of course some of the main results that you achieved thanks to these solutions?
Of course, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our project, our solution within the project, and also then I will answer to you after explaining just some few aspects about the solutions that we found to the project. So, in the ACCESSMILE project, the Port of Koper was also coordinator of our package 2, in which we developed 3 groups of solutions that were all linked together. So a first group was dedicated to the vehicle booking systems, which means to the coordination of data out of the port, and when the trucks are in the port, also to develop how they will exit from the port. The second group of solutions was dedicated to the analysis of data and to the aspects, operative aspects that are concretely going on at gates. So in our case, there was the development of the OCR systems for trucks transporting containers. And of course, the third group of solutions was dedicated to what happens inside the ports and inside warehouses or interports, as we have also in the project. So these 3 aspects are all linked, and I can explain it to you by offering, for example, a concrete example of what happens in such a logistics. So think about a truck driver which arrives from Austria or Hungary and has to arrive. Can you hear me? Yeah. So this truck driver has to arrive to the port, has to leave a container, and then to pick another container for the next destination. You have to understand that the truck driver will not come empty to the port and will not leave the port empty usually. So before arriving to the port, everyone who works outside the port, like forwarders, transport companies, customs also in the port and communicating with the other entities outside, have to plan this. So the vehicle booking systems that were provided to the first group of project partners have to manage all this data. Plate numbers, numbers of the container, the window, the time slot within this truck driver will arrive to the port, and so on. All these data are provided in advance. So this truck driver arrives, and then if all this data is included in the system, it arrives to the gates. So now we mounted to the gates some digital solutions that allow us to recognize the plate numbers, to combine them with the number of containers, and to lift the ramp automatically. And of course, after lifting this ramp, also to provide information to the truck driver about where to go within the port. So to leave the empty container to the depot or to go to the terminal because this container must go to on a vessel and so on. And after doing this, if everything goes well, green light, and it goes to the terminal, for example. Then he has to pick a container to go out for the next destination. Also, this information must be put in a system, and this system communicates with all these solutions that we provided for our project. So it goes again in the vehicle booking system to provide information while this this truck driver will go out from the port. It includes information also for the truck driver when he comes to the gate to leave the port, and if everything goes well, he can leave the port. And of course, it gives also the information to those who operate in the terminals for the preparation of the freight or of the container which must be loaded on the truck. If everything goes well, and usually in logistics it's not so simple, you have to manage these things. For example, a truck driver has also to make a break, to make a pause. So he plans also his break. And for example, if he has 2 hours before the break, he can verify if the container that he has to pick up is really in the port or is still on the vessel, on the anchor. And he can manage also his pause, his break. These solutions are important for all the people, all the logistic operators working in the logistic chain. And to answer to your question, how it helps because it reduces waiting times, it optimizes the information that is now digitally provided to all those actors in the logistic chain, and it can be probably better managed from all the actors. Of course, there can be other obstacles that are not manageable by us. For example, we are here in Trieste or in Koper, we have Bora. If Bora is over 100 kilometers per hour, the cranes will not work, so they will not unload the vessels, and the driver will have to wait. All this information are now digitalized, and it reduces the waiting time, and of course, consequently, also the emissions, the CO2 emissions. You are asking me for concrete results. So we estimated in a reduction of waiting time of about 10 to 15 minutes for the whole process. So when these trucks arrive to the gate and have to unload containers, load new ones, and leave the port, this is usually measurable in 10 minutes less for each truck to do these operations. Optimistically, it can be also 15 minutes. When we're talking about gas emissions and reductions, there are some standards of calculations, formulas that are approved and accepted in Europe, through which we can calculate that for each truck we can have a reduction of 1.5 to 1.8 liters per hour for a truck. Or if we are talking about CO2 emissions, 2.6 kilos of CO2 less for each truck. These are numbers that are provided in our analysis that we produced for our ACCESSMILE project, and we are now testing these pilot actions, and we are confident that it will go better and better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. I need to say that another issue that it's quite not so easy to understand is that when we are talking about the last mile, we are not talking only about the last mile to arrive to the port or to the inland terminal, but there is also let's say a challenge once you enter the port, because sometimes you have a port like the one of Koper or the others one, Venice, Trieste, and so on, which is huge, and also let's say the possibility and the opportunity to have digitalized information to the drivers, for example, on how and where to go exactly, what to do, and let's say automatize some of the decisions that have to be taken after, let's say, the gates. It's something that has to be taken into consideration to exploit and to optimize the numbers of minutes that you can save for this kind of operations.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned peripheral and rural areas, but it's a consequence that if the driver has the information about where his container is, which he's going to pick up, if he knows that container is still on the vessel, on the anchor, and not in the port, he can wait somewhere on the parking, making in advance his break. Otherwise, if he has two hours more, and he knows that the container is in the port, he can leave rural areas and come directly in the port to reduce the time. So it has a consequence also for peripheral and rural areas.
Thank you very much. I will now go to the other ports, so the port of Venice in particular, with Paolo Menegazzo. In this case, we are talking about the Mile Port project, so one of the other initiatives that we are celebrating today, in which you were working mainly on the topic of monitoring, no? Because you basically implemented some digital investment to improve the accessibility of the ports of Venice and Chioggia for the roadside, in particular with this kind of specific way of monitoring the traffic flows. Can you tell us about something about the study that you implemented, the investment that are currently ongoing or almost finished, if I remember correctly, and which kind of data you can basically allow the PCS to use and to exploit for the better integration of this information?
Thank you very much. Yes, for us, the MileSport project has been a great opportunity to enlarge our knowledge about traffic flows, not only from the very center of the port, where the terminals are, but to a very larger, wider area. In fact, this morning we were discussing what is last mile. The last mile for us, it's very large. It's a long way from the highway toward the terminal operators in the port. So till now we had only information about the terminal gates. Now, thanks to the MileSport project, we installed several other sensors for traffic flows in a very larger area. And they are sensors, but it is not the real core of our initiative, because sensors provide you real-time data that are useful, but you have to read, you have to use this data. So from the data, we pass to the next step, that is a complete monitoring system. So we have the data from the new sensors, but we connected also with all the other data we had from the gates, and we also connected with the car floating data, the data that are recorded from the trucks. So real-time data from the gates, real-time data from new sensor, floating data, all together in a box, and we develop a complete monitoring tool for our ports. Why we are happy that we had the chance in this project to develop? Because having this data, this monitoring tool, it's really useful for real-time information to our truck drivers that arrive in our port, so we can provide new services. But as public authority, we will use this data also for strategic planning. In fact, we will use this data for planning maintenance of our road and to have new strategic choice, for example, for improving road infrastructure. So thanks to the project now, not now, in the next month, we will have a complete monitoring tool. And you are invited in Venice to visit it. Thank you.
May I ask, Paolo, just an additional question, very short? Is there are the possibility to combine some really specific environmental data together with to match some environmental data with this let's say freight flow analysis?
Yes, of course. You cannot do any environmental analysis without data. In this case, we will use the new data sets that we are going to collect to expand to environmental info.
That's I just wanted to underline, because it's one of the issues that it is important to make the people know what you are doing, also in terms of results that are basically something which is really measurable, also from the point of view of the, let's say, the citizens. No? So this is for sure one of the issues. Thank you very much, Paolo. So the last but not least, of course, Nicola Busato. We are on the side of the motorway operator, motorway concessionaire, in this case of the Concessione Statale Venete. You were part of another project which you are talking about today, which is Meridian. in which you work on this new traffic control center software, which is allowing you to somehow to make some forecast regarding the traffic situation, in particular in your motorway. And the question for you is of course, if you can just briefly present these activities, and in particular which kind of output you get from this from the application of this platform, especially with reference, of course, to the, let's say, traffic monitoring at the local level.
Thank you, Andrea. Too close. Thank you, Andrea. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting CAV at this panel. I'm Nicola Busato. I'm the head of technology and in CAV. And first of all, I want to give you some information about our new platform. And let me help my speech with reading a little bit a note to give you some information. Let me introduce CAV. CAV is a company that manages the motorway infrastructure in the area between the city of Venice, Padua and Treviso. It is part of Corridor 5 of the TNT networks, and it is connected with important intermodal hubs like the Port of Venice or the Airport of Venice. Along our motorways, part of the West-East corridor, in particular along the Mestre Beltway and the A4 Passante di Mestre motorways, we manage more than 100,000 vehicles per day. And to manage this amount of traffic, we decided to implement a new platform, a new software platform that can help us to manage traffic. And for CAV, this platform is a key asset for the operational, in particular for the operational department of CAV. And we have an important system to support the decision of the operator, traffic control center operator. And in this way, we realize an important technological upgrade of the operational center, the hub in which the information traffic is collected. And basis on the current traffic condition and predefined objectives, the traffic supervisor software identifies the regulation and control strategies and user information to be implemented to the field devices according to the functional specification of the Italian Smart Road Decree. As a result, the following modules has been implemented. We have a traffic monitoring and road infrastructure using sensor and video cameras. We implemented a traffic regulation and control system like the motorway access regulation and control system, the emergency lane management system, such as the use of the third lane in the Mestre Beltway, and a dynamic speed control. Then a forecasting and optimization models of the road network and event management. We want to underline that we implement an online and offline simulation methodology for traffic regulation with the following functionalities: a traffic estimation and simulation model across the wide area network, serving not only the CAV motorway network, but a sub-regional area network, and a modeling system with two approaches: on the extending network with high connectivity and an application of route calculation algorithms, and on the CAV motorways network with a higher level of detail, allowing for the evaluation of the effect of the control strategy. About the offline system on the CAV network, we can create a simulation of demand scenarios or flow-responsive highway traffic regulation strategies like variable speed limits, dynamic lane activation or deactivation. And we create also simulation to effect of the lane or two-lane closure, intense weather events and special events. About the offline system in the extended road network, we can create some scenarios with OD metrics, estimation based on available real-time information sources, flow, speed detected by fixed sensor, average speed and any flow car data, simulation of demand or supply variation scenarios, and analysis of route information strategies in different scenarios. On the online system implemented, we can have in the platform a short to medium-term traffic flow forecasting based on the real-time data sources, flow speeds detected by fixed sensor or from the flow ticker data, an online simulation of regulation strategies implementing or pending implementation on the CAV network with what-if approach, the use of variable speed limits, the dynamic lane activation and the deactivation, and an online simulator of route information strategies to be provided, for example, via variable sign on the CAV network. Also, the platform integrates a user information system, like app, website, the cooperative system, the automatic counterflow management system, an automatic incident detection system, and the use of the protocol DATEX2 for exchange the events with other operational center or with other motorways company. The model for the management of cooperative services about the intelligent transport system, the CITS system, a complete integration of the platform with the other existing software application for motorway operation. At the end, we wanted to underline that a vehicle infrastructure interaction is implemented in the platform with an integration of three fundamental elements: the road infrastructure, the data transmission network, and the role of the car makers. On the infrastructure side, the technologies implemented at the operation center are set up for the management of the cooperative intelligence transport system, which allow the vehicle-to-infrastructure and vehicle-to-vehicle, V2V connection, but the data transmission network and the role of the car makers in which the platform plays, but it is, the data transmission network and the role of the car maker in which the platform plays a fundamental role. This is the major system we implemented. There are some technical modules we implement, but we wanted to underline that the question is if the platform is already showing improvement in traffic. I think yes, because we have a unique system in which we collected data, and it's important for our traffic center operator to share the information in a unique system. But we implemented the platform between the 2024 and 2025, and we are working during this year to reach the effect about the model implemented, and probably at the end of this year we can have the major effect, and if we have a solid platform implemented. I think it's important to also exchange data with open system, with not a particular software. And in this way, I think this is the major goal we want to reach in this way, in this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Just to underline the fact that when you are talking about 100,000 vehicles per day, more or less, we are talking about 1/3 of those are heavy-duty vehicles, so are very, let's say it's a very traffic. There is a very huge traffic from the point of view of the freight on this in this section of the corridor of the Mediterranean corridor. But at the same time, let me allow me to underline that there is a very strong coordination and collaboration between the different institutional level CAV is often one of the testing, let's say, instruments that the Veneto region as well as other institution at local level are using in order to improve some innovation. As far as you have one of between the three pillars, one of is the one of innovation, which is always let's say undergoing. So this is for sure one of the main results that you can achieve also thanks to these efforts. Okay, so as far as we are running out of time, I don't know where is Alberto, but we want to keep more or less in time. We had a last round, but very short, so just a couple of words, I would say, no, but a very short one for all of you, with a couple of questions. The first one, so it's the same question for all of you. The first question is, in your opinion, which is the most critical factor in the, let's say, in the next few years to be challenged in order to further improve digitalization in the road freight transport? Because we can think about a technological barrier, governance barriers, problems related to the financial sustainability, all the change in the mind of the operators, collaboration between the operators. So which is, in your opinion, the most critical issue to be tackled in the next few years from one side? And the second question is how to improve, let's say, the trust in this case in the digital solution as a competitive advantage rather than an additional complexity. Often, just to underline, often you have when you have additional technological, let's say, tools to be used, it is often seen something like an additional effort, so something which is difficult to overcome and so on. But of course, we have providing this kind of results in order to have this kind of tools in order to have a smooth and a very easy way of managing the challenges that we are facing in the logistics sector. So first of all, the most critical factor from your side in order to improve the digitalization of road freight transport, and how to improve it in order to make it clear that it is something that is easy, is realizing easy your work instead of a complexity.
A couple of words for such a topic is tricky. I would say that for my perception, in most of the cases we are speaking about digitalization without knowing specifically why we are speaking about digitalization. So to me, the main important aspect that the European Union will face in the next years will be the lack of capacity of transport. Since what we see from all forecasts and what we have perceived, let's say, in the last years, is that the volumes of transports are increasing, while, for instance, we don't have drivers anymore. And we do not want also migrants that could take that job positions open. So pragmatically speaking, it means that we will have less, potentially less trucks running, and that means less capacity. And let me say that no goods have value if it's not able to reach who deserve it. So the transport has to be understood as one of the key aspects of the economy. In most of the cases we discuss it about the pollution aspect, environmental aspect, and so on. While sooner or later, and we experience it also along these years, sooner or later we will have a clear perception that we have no the capacity to transport the goods. And what is the solution for that? The solution is definitely digitalization. Also, if we consider that at least 25% of the trucks that are running on the roads are running empty. So the major goods transported in Europe at the moment is air. Therefore, we have to think about digitalization as the major tool to do more with less capacity, and that's the major challenge that should be on the table of the main important policymakers, something that at the moment I don't see actually.
Thanks, Andrea. Zoltan.
Thank you so much. I fully agree with Andrea, but I would like to highlight...
That's too easy, yeah? Too easy.
But I would like to highlight this problem from a little bit other aspects. That I fully agree with you that lack of transport means also lack of truck drivers. We are talking about 900,000 missing truck drivers from the European system, which is a big number, let's say. But with the digitalization tools, we can optimize and better utilize the driving time of the truck drivers, which means less needs or less demand for the truck drivers. From other aspects, I would like to highlight that we are facing with the biggest problem with the age of the truck driver, especially in the container transportation, where the truck driver doesn't need physical works, like in the normal truck drivers who need to move the tarpaulin of the trailer, who need to do the lashing. This is not the case in the container transportation. So this means that in domestic transportation, where we are also receiving mainly domestic truck drivers, more and more elder truck drivers visiting the terminal who can use less and less the digital tools. They are unable to use the smartphones, they are unable to read the QR code and so on. So it's a big challenge how we can motivate them to learn such technologies, how we can motivate them to use such digital tools. And this is a challenge. That's why we find out to motivate the truck drivers that booking a time slot on the terminal means a much more faster way to get into the terminal, and they can gain something every day if they are using the system. So it's a kind of motivation system for the truck drivers. And last but not least, let me show one good example also, that the positive feedback of the lack of the truck drivers, that we see more and more women truck drivers in the domestic transportation, which is, come on, it's a real positive feedback and a positive achievement. Thank you.
Thanks, Condotta. Thank you very much. Roberto.
So here I want to highlight two aspects in this case. The first one is that digitalization is streamlining all these processes, but at the same time you don't have excuses. All the data must be in the system, and if one is missing or one letter is wrong or one number is not correctly written inside, you will have simply a red light when you come at the gate. So if you want that it works, everyone in the logistics system must have concrete and full instructions about how to use these systems, and about also to know for truck drivers, for example, what to expect when they come to the gates. For forwarders, what they have to include before these truck drivers arrive to the gate. And at the same time, terminal operators to know how to include this data in the system, allowing the truck drivers to enter automatically in the ports. This is one aspect. The second one is also, in my opinion, what I am mentioning from 2 or 3 years, and I'm happy that it was mentioned also today twice, is the cybersecurity. So we are working with data, and even if everything works well and everyone is well instructed, if there is a cyber attack from outside, it will not work. Now we are experiencing in our port, for example, also crane managing from offices, which means that someone sits in the office and is managing a crane on the vessel. If someone interrupts the the data flows, internet communication, this crane will not work. And I'm telling you, interrupting the data flow instead of introducing in the data flow, so that it can happen that someone can manage this crane from all over the world. This can represent also a big problem, and a solution. The solution can be that, and what we are working on it also in the Port of Koper, is that these systems must have their own firewalls, must be independent. Because actually, for example, we are installing an OCR system which has a software which works from far away from Finland, because They are managing the flows and are calibrating all the data. It would be good for us to have an internal server with firewalls which manages this data entering and leaving the port. So this is an obstacle that can be provided if you don't have a cybersecurity well structured in the port or interport.
Totally agree. Thank you very much, Roberto. Paolo.
I think that we have to start from a positive fact. That is that in the last few years, we already had some and big improvement. The truth in the digitalization, it's something real nowadays. So there is a lot of things to do, of course, but the pilot initiatives that we developed also thanks to these projects gave concrete results and improved, real improvement in the system. What, in which way we have to improve? For sure, we have to have an approach looking to the process. Otherwise, we will, with the digitalization, only reply the paper process in a digitalization way. It's something different, this digitalization. It's something starting again from see and look only what we need and rewrite a new process. But I want to have I have a good feedback on this. Thank you.
Thank you for your optimistic position, Paolo. Nicola.
The question for me is very strong because I try to think about the technology, and it is a fact that technology is an important system or word that support our decision. But I think we need also a governance, a financial sustainability, and we have to create a system that can change the cultural mind of the people. And I think we have to continue to work together, motorways, port, hub, logistic, and we have to continue to implement open system that can exchange data each other, and we have to continue to have this type of meeting to improve our knowledge and our approach about the digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I need to say that you mentioned the one issue. I was waiting for someone mentioning the topic of the governance that you said at the very beginning. I think it's very important also from the point of view of the digitalization, as far as once you have a huge amount of data, it is really important to have a clear idea on how to manage it, not only at the single operator level, but on a wider level. So that's why, you know, the issue that we were discussing this morning, also the Piattaforma Logistica Nazionale, the approach at national level on how to deal with this data, it is really important, and it is really let's say strategic on how to deal with this data. So for sure, in my opinion, it's in this way. And the last but not least, in my opinion, also as you were mentioning, this kind of events, but all of the events that we are usually to organize, especially to present the results of the activities, especially when financed by the European projects, are very important because they are basically representing some best practice that can be shared, can be, I would say, also copied, because it's not a bad word to copy something that is really working very well. So it is an issue an opportunity that we can take as an advantage also in terms of according to this kind of events. Okay, so let's go to the final stage of the event. I think that, well, if you want to accommodate yourself on the other side, and I will thank you very much, of course, once again for your presentation. I will now, as far we just mentioned the fact that often we are talking about the projects that are financed by the European Union, by different kind of programs. We have here in remote. We have the presentation from a very brief conclusion from Mr. José María Diez from the CINEA. So please, the floor is yours for some conclusion.
Thanks very much. First of all, thank you very much for the organization. It has been a fantastic workshop. As some of the speakers will mention, this is really very important in terms of sharing best practices all around Europe. Of course, it's not the word copy, it's just to share best practices. It has been funded like this, and it has been working like this for now quite a good number of years. I'm just going to briefly explain Connecting Europe Facilities. Connecting Europe Facilities is the program of the European Commission related to infrastructures. So in a long, we can say, explanation of infrastructure from rail to ports, covering also roads, safe parking areas, etc. So it's one of the most budgeted program of the European Commission. As you know, there are some parts, energy, safe digital, and safe transport. In some cases, there are synergies between both of them, which is even more relevant and more interesting for us, for the European Commission, to grant those very interesting projects. As an example, we have ports that they are developing a new infrastructure along with onshore or offshore energy strategy, along with some digitalization, which is what is at the end what the European Commission wants, that is smoother, greener, seamless transport. Just to mention that the Connecting Europe Facility Transport has got an important part dedicated to ITS, from 0.7 billion euros in CEF1 to 1.7 billion euros in CEF2 for the next framework, financial framework. It is expected to, from 2028 to 2034, it is expected that safe transport is going to move from 26 billion euros, more or less, to 51, including the military mobility. But I'm just telling you that it is a good occasion for preparing a proposal for your infrastructures and, of course, for ITS. Even so, I'm going to tell you one of the topics that for sure is going to be paramount for the next financial framework is going to be, of course, digitalization, and of course, digitalization in transport. Especially, we understand is going to be focused on cross-border cooperation. As we know, we are those that we are leading the TEN-T corridors, but with a special focus on ITS and connecting ITS, and keeping on with the a new a call that appeared in this second CEF call, which is called data, that you can easily use the funds in the next coming years. Just to finish, in case that you're asking me, yes, yet to finish this CEF Connecting Europe Facility 2 infrastructure, it will be a reflow call, yet to open soon, but yet to know more details. Just keep a little bit in the loop and try to follow us to understand more of this last reflow call, which is going to include ITS as an important part. That's all. Again, thanks very much. And again, congratulations for this fantastic workshop.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diez. I need to say that if I remember correctly, the next the forecast is to have more or less 1 billion euro, a little bit more than 1 billion euro for the next call of the CEF, probably opening in June, July. And of course, this topic of the ITS will be there, so it will be very important to also take this kind of opportunity. But of course, there is not only CEF, so I will invite here for a conclusion Mr. Ritt from the Central Joint Secretary of the Interreg Central Europe program for some words to conclude, please. And you have a presentation too, huh? You have a presentation. Yeah.
Okay, as time is flying, I will concentrate my intervention on basically answering two questions. So why is cooperation central, and how we take cooperation forward? So what is the future? And the first point, and it's to a certain extent, is a recap of what we already heard in the morning or in the last session on the roundtable. So we building solidarity as our projects are connecting regions and people to address shared challenges, and I think we had good examples on that. The second main point is we deliver change with our projects that test innovative solutions in real-time settings to drive sustainable growth and to support the twin transition. And finally, last but not least, we are achieving synergies with our project that enable regions, cities, and terminals, of course, to pool resources and knowledge for a solution with a broader impact. And those synergies can be used within projects, that can be used within programs, and that can be used across programs. But, and now allow me a personal remark, for using synergies and pooling knowledge, you need always a human interface, at least for the time being. And let me thank Alberto for being this human interface for the project and also across projects, and also for very smooth communication with the program, because this holds a partnership together and that enables to achieve the expected results. And yeah, we are quite happy about that. Now let me turn the page and skip some of the previous slides. No, just focusing on the last question, how we as a program take cooperation forward, what is our agenda for this year? And the first point, this started already in January, we had the third call, now 25 more projects, summing up to 125 projects that are up and running with more than 1,000 partners and 190 million euros allocated. Then in February, we had the kickoff meeting for shaping the new program, the program Central Europe 28 to 34, with the first meeting of our member states. And then in May, the decision on the fourth call projects, bringing together cross-border cooperation and transnational cooperation is expected, and projects will start in September. And also then in September and autumn, we involve stakeholders for the new program. So if you're ready for the future, if you have also your priorities, this is the opportunity for you to influence the new program. And then maybe another milestone for next year, 5th of November, we have a big program conference bringing together all Central Europe projects in Vienna for exactly what I mentioned before, to bring together resources, to use synergies, and to have a wider impact. So thank you for your attention, and yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ritt, and I would like to join let's say the greetings to Alberto, because it's always one of the pivotal roles that we can use for this kind of initiative. So the other program that has already is also financing some of the projects that we were celebrating today was the Italy-Croatia. So Ervoje Grankaric from the Joint Secretariat of the Interreg Italy-Croatia, some words from your side.
Hello everyone. Of course, thank you, Alberto, for organizing this. Andrea, you're a great moderator. Somehow I have the pleasure to close. I think I'm the last, okay? I will be short. I'm glad that we have here two of our projects funded within our program, Italy-Croatia. You can see our area here, the Adriatic coast of Italy and Croatia. Mileport and Pressport are funded within our third priority, sustainable maritime and multimodal transport. We have currently 10 projects ongoing, 100 partners, around 30 million euros ERDF, many pilot actions, many new modernized intermodal connections. These are the pilot actions what we heard about for the past part of the day. So our projects are focusing on ports, their connections with the hinterland, the last mile. We support the green and smart ports concept, digitalization, increasing the efficiency of the port operations, reducing congestions, CO2 emissions. But also we have some original ideas which not fully focusing on ports, such as cycle routes, mobility as a service. Many original pilot actions are being implemented. Currently, all of those projects are ongoing. On May, we will have even more projects. It's going to be a quite busy period. We will have the results of the third call for standard projects. Not many projects will be contracted. I think 2 or 3. And then from June, from this year, the standard projects will be slowly closing. And Pressport will, as an operation of strategic importance, will stay with us a bit longer. Coming back to the first point on the left side is also what my colleague from Central Europe mentioned, is that we are ongoing with the programming of our next program. I have to say also that the debate on Interreg as a concept in the next programming period and transport within Interreg is still ongoing, the debate. So you are our best ambassadors. Please disseminate the results of your projects, influence the policy makers on EU, on national levels, inform them on the on Interreg, its part in the biosphere of EU-funded projects and all available funds. And yes, as I said, you're our best ambassadors, and events like this help. Thank you.
Okay, so we are at the end of this morning of works. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, participants, and of course our hosting partners, the Port Authority of Trieste, as well as the Friuli-Venezia Giulia region. Sorry, too many hats, you know. And for hosting us, of course. And just to mention that I think that we basically point out some. Let's say keywords that were several times repeated this morning, but that are basically, in my opinion, guiding really the next activities that we can somehow implement. Also, thanks to the financing of different programs and the invitation of Arvoie to be ambassador in somehow in the future for to let's say to disseminate the results that we are going to achieve thanks to these funds is one of the best business cards that we can share with other partners and other institutional stakeholders. So thank you very much once again. I will invite Alberto for some final remarks and some logistics details. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Andrea. So I get I have 1 hour, right, to talk? No, kidding. So just before inviting you to lunch, thank you, Andrea, for the moderation. Thanks to all of you for participating. This is a topic which does not usually, warm the hearts and minds of regular citizens, but we are almost 100 people here today in Trieste, plus we have connected 15, 20 people from the Ministries of Transport of Italy, Slovenia, IPA adjunct countries, port authorities. So I would say it's not a topic that really is so felt, but for a certain section of people it is felt, and this today's meeting demonstrates it. Thank you also to the programs that fund our projects, CEF, Central Europe and Italy-Croatia, to the moderators and the speakers. Just some logistics. So the slides will be available. We will publish them on the project website, and we will also ask user and usehelp to publish them. For the afternoon, so Meridian partners will be here in this room, Trieste, at 2:15. ACCESSMILE partners will meet upstairs in the Miramare room at 2:30. Having said this, thank you again, good lunch, buon appetito.